Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, Miss Shemaine Houvet, looking splendid, darling.
Thank you, Basi. Esteemed guests, my gorgeous co-host doesn't need much of an introduction, and fellow IWFSA board member, Ms. Batsetsani Khumalo.
I have to tell you the galaxy of stars that I'm looking at tonight. Ladies, you look resplendent. I think you should give yourselves a round of applause too. Honored guests, Hall of Femme honorees, Madam President, Madam Vice President, and board members of the International Women's Forum South Africa.
Welcome one and all to this evening of celebration, of fellowship, of reflection, as we gather to honor our stars of the night.
Absolutely. 3 extraordinary women who have lived lives of courage, of grace, of conviction, and whose bold exploits and achievements shine a light of inspiration on us all. Shams?
Absolutely, Basi. And tonight, in turn, we shine a light on this remarkable trio as we welcome them into the realm of appreciation, recognition, and acclaim that we call the IWFSA Hall of Fame.
Yes. And this year's theme is Paying It Forward.
And of course, for us to pay it forward means doing good. It means making the world a better place through deeds, actions, both large and small.
Absolutely. And in line with that mission, we also tonight get to meet a group of brilliant and accomplished young women who represent the best hope of a brighter tomorrow for us all. The alumni of the IWFSA Facet Women's Legacy Program, our Young Leaders Connect leaders, and our IWF Global Fellows.
Role models of the power and purpose of paying it forward.
But before we move forward with the evening's proceedings, I ask you now to share in an act of remembrance as we pause to honor the IWFSA members who have sadly lost over the last 3 years.
And as we reflect on their contributions, let us celebrate their legacies and continue to uplift and empower other women in their honor.
Thank you, everyone. It gives me great pleasure now to call on our first speaker for the evening. As a trade union negotiator, she made her mark for her insights, her in-depth knowledge, and her skill at working towards a resolution.
As a business leader, she was instrumental in transforming MTN Group into one of the world's preeminent mobile operators.
Forbes magazine calls her one of Africa's most 50 powerful women.
And of course, here at IWFSA, we affectionately refer to her as Madam President. Please welcome a true role model of upliftment, empowerment, leadership, inspiration, and entrepreneurial endeavor.
Ladies and gentlemen, Madam President of IWFSA, Ms. Irene Tanvi.
Thank you, Basitane and Charmaine, for your kind introduction. And very good evening, everyone. I would like to begin with a few words of official welcome. Firstly, in his absence, I welcome His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, who will join us this evening at our celebratory gala dinner at about 2015. So when you get out here, ladies, you have to rush upstairs, okay? I welcome also the Treasurer General of the African National Congress, Dr. Gwen Ramagopa. Dr. Gwen, I don't see you. Where are you? She is here. I know she's here. And then I welcome our 3 Hall of Femme honorees who inspire us with their dazzling achievements. Miss Winnie, I hope I pronounce your name correctly, Byanyima, Advocate Mojanku Gumbi, and Dr. Brigalia Bam, who's unfortunately not here. You honor us with your presence. Ladies and gentlemen, it warms my heart to see the positive power of women who join forces to make a meaningful difference in this world. As I stand before you tonight, I feel the pride, I feel that sense of affirmation, I feel the bond of sisterhood that unites us in our common quest to lift as we rise. At the IWFSA, in close partnership with our sister organizations, we are building a movement, and we are moving forward through the power of paying it forward. That is our theme for this evening. In practice, as you've heard earlier on, paying it forward means performing acts of kindness towards others in the hope that they will go on to do something kind for someone else without expecting anything in return. The world, for many millions of people, is a place of darkness, of despair, and ruin. We can't fix the world, but what we can do is to help make the world a better place, for one person at a time. That is the hope and the vision of the IWFSA. That is the hope of our IWFSA Young Leaders Connect and our IWFSA Facet Women's Leadership Program. Together, we are empowering young women, women professionals with structured leadership training program, mentorship, coaching, and guidance. Already, the first cohort have begun to make their mark. You'll get to hear some of them a little later this evening and see their radiance of their positive energy, the dazzle of their skills and ambition. Tonight, we are celebrating the achievements of 3 remarkable women, Miss Winnie Byanyima, Dr. Brigalia Bam, and Advocate Mojanku Gumbi. Give them a... These women have had an enormous positive impact on the lives of other people across the world. Each one of them, selflessly, with their heads held up high, have risen to the highest ranks of their callings and professions. I wish you all a phenomenal evening and an evening of more phenomenal tomorrow. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Madam President. You have spoken. We are grateful for your words of wisdom and inspiration, your guidance, as well as your mentorship at the helm of our precious organization. You are a perfect everyday example of tireless commitment to the ideal of paying it forward.
And I echo those words, Madam President. Long may you continue to lift as we all rise.
And it's with great pleasure that we call to stage a role model of that very philosophy, a pioneer graduate of the IWFSA Facet Women's Legacy Program, who will be delivering a message on behalf of my private personal bank, Standard Bank, in the true spirit of paying it forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the brightest young leaders to emerge from the IWFSA's program of coaching and mentoring. She currently works as an international tax and fiduciary specialist, I beg your pardon, for Standard Bank in Johannesburg, and her name is Thando Lamula.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I am Thando Lamula, an international tax specialist and a fiduciary manager in the wealth and investment space in the division in Standard Bank. It is my sincere honor to welcome you this evening. As you entered our flagship building, you would have noticed a tribute to the continent displayed in our atrium, representing our group purpose. Africa is our home, and we give her growth. Standard Bank Group, as Africa's leading financial service organization, with a footprint of 20 countries, we believe in the possibilities and opportunities that are bound with Africa. And this is why our second and consecutive year sponsorship of the International Women's Forum South Africa Hall of Fame event. Their mission aligns seamlessly with our commitment to advancing gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and community. Together, we are making a difference, and together, we are shaping the future. Tonight, we unite under the banner of paying it forward. It is a theme that reminds us of our collective responsibility to forge more of equitable and inclusive future for our beautiful continent. I stand before you today because somebody believed in me. Being given the benefit of the doubt goes a long way, and it ignites a person. This mission of believing in others and presenting opportunities perfectly aligns with the vision of the International Women's Forum South Africa. I am a fellow of the IWFSA and a beneficiary of its works. I firmly believe in their motto, "We rise by lifting others," which speaks to paying it forward. My journey with the IWFSA began in the year 2020, when I was introduced to the Young Leaders Connect. In 2021, together with its strategic partners, the IWFSA launched its Executive Leadership Development Program. And again, I am a beneficiary of this program. I was one of the pioneer students, and by virtue of that, I proudly stand before you as the co-chair of the IWFSA Alumni Network. We are standing on the shoulders of giant women, ladies and gentlemen, who have taken upon themselves to empower the next generation. Boundless thank you to Ma Irene Shandli, Madam President. For the longest of time, I did not appreciate the concept muthu ke muthu ka batho, or umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu, but I am because they are. But now I highly find resonance in that statement. My mission too is to pay it forward, because somebody is paying it forward for me and my counterparts. So ladies and gentlemen, let us remember that pay it forward is more than just a theme. It is a personal commitment. Let us work hand in hand to create an Africa where gender is not a barrier, but a bridge to a more prosperous, equitable, and inclusive future for all. Thank you for gracing us with your presence, and let the evening ahead be a celebration for our shared vision and commitment. I thank you.
The future looks bright, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Another round of applause for Uthando. You've shown us tonight that the future of our country is indeed in good hands. You truly are an ambassador, Thando, for your generation. Go well and keep on rising, baby girl.
And I'm sure now you can realize why we are so excited about this future talent. And just as we looked with pride and confidence to the future, of course, it's always important for us not to forget where we come from and how our organization actually came to be. In this, our 22nd year, please enjoy the history video of our amazing organization, the IWFSA.
History is made by those who seize the fleeting moment. History belongs to those who seize the future. The year is 1974. Eleanor Guggenheimer, a civic leader, an activist, an urban planner by profession, travels from her home in New York to Philadelphia to attend a meeting of the New York Planning Commission. At the door of the venue, she is stopped and told that the only women allowed in the building were waitresses and maids. So she finds herself a maid's uniform, puts it on, and takes her rightful place at the table. She knew at that moment that something had to be done. And so, together with 3 other women, Eleanor Guggenheimer founded an organization devoted to advancing women's leadership and championing equality worldwide. The International Women's Forum, the IWF, had been born, and the world of women would never be the same. Today, the IWF is a global sisterhood, connecting and promoting more than 7,800 leaders, change makers, high achievers in more than 34 countries. Women supporting women, women lifting as they rise, women paying it forward. And here in South Africa, where women have long been at the forefront of the struggle for justice, equality, and emancipation, the IWFSA has risen to become one of the most active and influential civil society groups in the country. In 2002, when Mamzanele Mbeki answered the call to set up a South African forum of the IWF, the road ahead seemed steep. But women working together, sharing a common vision, can reach the stars. They were extraordinary women, dedicated to an extraordinary task, to share their skills, their talents, their experience, their knowledge and insights, so that the road ahead will be easier for those who followed in their footsteps. Women blazing the trail for women. Aspiring to be the voice of women leaders who ignite change, committed to developing the next generation of women ethical leaders. The IWFSA continues to have a lasting and meaningful impact on the lives, hopes, and dreams of South African women. Through its innovative programs and far-reaching initiatives aimed at increasing the participation of women in the economy and reducing the gender pay gap in a society where even today women continue to earn less, save less, and hold less secure jobs than their male counterparts. Thousands of South African women fall victim every year to gender-based violence, a social ill so prevalent that it has been called a second pandemic. As part of its efforts to raise topical issues, facilitate dialogue, and drive positive change, the IWFSA launched the private sector-led Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Response Fund in collaboration with the Presidency. Women helping women, women making a difference. The fleeting moment has become the foundation of a better, brighter tomorrow. The whisper has become a roar. Today, in its 22nd year through one-on-one mentorship and networking opportunities and lobbying for change and justice. The IWFSA continues to make a positive and meaningful difference in the quest to grow and strengthen the role of women in business, in the professional world, and in society at large. And by the end of September 2025, the first 1,000 alumni of the groundbreaking IWFSA Facet Women's Legacy Program will have made their way into the economy and the professions, making their mark in the public and private sectors. Here's to the vision of the founders. Here's to the power of sisterhood. Here's to the history makers and the builders of the future. Here's to the IWFSA. Let's pay it forward. Let's pay it forward. Let's pay it forward.
And indeed, that video always makes me so emotional. It fills me with pride, and what a proud history of our precious organization, and what a strong foundation Mam Zanele and Becky, its founders, leaders, and members have put in place for tomorrow.
Siyabonga, ma.
As a vital part of that investment in a brighter future, our IWFSA Young Leaders Connect and the IWFSA Facet Women's Legacy Program are paying it forward by mentoring and equipping young professional women with the skills they need to advance their careers. And actually, Basi, that's also a very special entity. Both of them, for me, I was co-chair of the YLC, and something Madam Prez always reminds us of is that both programs, the differentiator is that each and every one of these young women that you will see are mentored by us, they shadow us, and we sponsor them.
A phenomenal job you've been doing, Shams. You need a round of applause for that. Tireless and selfless in your work. So let's shine the spotlight now on some of these amazing women, the first of the group of our Women's Legacy Program alumni. And let's hear what they have to say about the power of paying it forward.
It's so important for women to work together, to find a way to overcome challenges and inequalities, and make tomorrow better for the next generation of women leaders. Through the IWFSA Facet Women's Legacy Program, that's exactly what we are doing. Helping each other, paving the way, lifting as we rise. Meet some of the incredible women who are leaving a legacy for tomorrow.
The program has meant that, I have a place in society as a woman. From a professional point of view, it's really meant that women deserve to be represented equally and have a seat at leadership positions. And also it's meant that I can lead authentically and be unique.
Many a times, because we are people that have the technical know-how, we don't put too much emphasis about having a network of women that can actually sponsor you and accelerate your career in an ecosystem of other women who are equally as committed to developing other women and all. That, I think, for me, has left a lasting impression about the importance of such a program.
There was a fire that was burning inside me. The passion as well, it was there, but I couldn't surface it. So as soon as I got into the program and into especially the mentorship program part of it, that fire surfaced and the passion. And from there, things started to roll out, and I was exposed to issues of SMME at the SADC region. Remember, I'm servicing the Northwest Province only, but from the program, what I've gained is the exposure to the SADC region in terms of SMME development issues. Through the mentorship, you can't be alone and journey alone there. You need to lift others. So as a group, when we lift each other, we advance in terms of economic development, women empowerment, we will definitely achieve what we need to achieve.
You can never be in this program and remain the same. The one powerful tool that I have learned from this program is to use what we call the pause. Because in most instances, we do not afford ourselves the opportunity to pause. When you're confronted with situations, you feel you need to respond and respond there and there. But from this program, we're encouraged to say, afford yourself an opportunity to pause.
My dream, my vision for women in South Africa, first and foremost, is for women to know their self-worth and their power. Programs like the IWFSA should be more available, accessible, and also, as myself, let me be a mentor, let me be a coach to the next woman, that's coming into the industry, so that they don't have to go through, the same challenges that I went through.
To obtain positions of power, positions that allow women to make decisions in corporate South Africa. If it was not of the mentoring, young black women will not easily make it to where I am today. So there's a lot that has to be done.
To see most of the women go through this program, so that for people who were sort of stuck like myself, to be able to get to a level wherein they are taken from that space of being stuck and start to be able to look forward to the great things that they can be able to contribute in our society.
A situation where we are not employed because we women, but we are employed because we can do the job and we qualify in doing the job. We can play a big role, and we do have the capacity to do so, and I would want our voices to be heard, not silent.
If imagination is a vehicle that can steer us to the stars, then tonight, let me be your guide. Journey with me to a palace of dreams, a mansion where memory makes itself at home. We are traveling at the speed of light because light illuminates, light elucidates, light dazzles, uplifts, and inspires. Light radiates from the stars that surround us. Stars we look up to, stars that glimmer with the hope that one day we too will shine. Follow me into the vast, inviting expanse where past and present collide and the future in brilliance is born. In this place of memory and dreams, history comes alive through the trials and tribulations, through the struggles and sacrifices, through the drive, passion, vision, and determination of footsteps we could only hope to follow. Who are these women staring back at me, exuding ingenuity and strength, creativity and grace, women whose lives explode through the borders of a frame? In this hall of sacred memories, every step is a shrine to the contributions of maverick women through the passage of space and time. Imagine a living museum with unique heroes inside. The ones who leave storms in their wake, who ignite infernos with each breath they take, who command the hands of fate, who move planets at their own pace, who wake up with the sun and leave the world changed. Masters of science, leaders of governments, teachers of humanity, architects of new realms, healers of bloodlines, creators of love lines, business women and mystics, engineers and storytellers, artists and communicators, famous and nameless. The value of your life is in the freedoms we hold. We are here because of women, visible and invisible geniuses. We celebrate the women who have carried us in this Hall of Femme. The Hall of Femme is a hall of mirrors. As we look up to these women, we see ourselves reflected in their dreams. As their light shines on us, it reflects a tomorrow led by women. Welcome to the IWFSA Hall of Fame.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the IWFSA Hall of Femme Awards for 2022.
This trio of honorees, we're also looking at a theory. They all have their own illustrious legacies. So thank you very much.
Recognizing and celebrating my leadership and achievements, their achievements and the example they have set for women all over the world.
A sense of great responsibility and saying, could I do it? Could I do those things? They rang the bell and I opened the door. My first year, and I've got to hide you. I never lived that down.
For Winnie Byanyima. How does a girl engineer a machine that flies? How does a woman fight for her country twice? How does a freedom fighter know when her peers have changed? How does a leader's ethical core remain the same? To dive into the epicenter of the flame, to tell Hades about its fire. This is the calling of the brave. For women and girls, for trans folks and gays, for those depicted as destitute, resisting invisibility every day. When you face power in your mouth, the truth is clay. You build the dignity of our people with the light of your gaze.
Her 7 given names tell the story of who she is and where she comes from. But there is one name in particular that casts a bright and shining light on what she would become, on how she would shape her destiny, to make a difference in the world. Kai Jirajire. It means I can make myself whatever I want to be. Every story, every journey has its point of origin, and hers begins here, in Mbarara, the second largest city in Uganda. Her father was an opposition politician, her mother a school teacher. From them, she learned the power of education and the power of standing up for your beliefs, even when the world around you is collapsing. In the turmoil of the post-colonial era in the newly independent nation, her family sought refuge in England, where she lived up to her given name by lifting her gaze to the stars and graduating with a degree in aeronautical engineering. Offered a scholarship to the USA, she chose instead to return to her roots, helping her country reach for the skies as a flight engineer for Uganda Airlines. Then came the war. Leaving the trajectory of a high-flying career, she took to the ground as a combatant for the National Resistance Army, in a civil conflict that will reshape the future of Uganda and forever alter the course of her life. In peacetime, her skills as an organizer, a leader by instinct and nature, led her into a celebrated career in diplomacy and parliamentary politics. But her greater goal, her driving passion, has always been to make the world a better place, beginning right here on the continent of her birth. As executive director of Oxfam International, she spearheaded efforts to decolonize the charity, shifting its headquarters from London to Kenya, and shifting its focus from humanitarian aid agency to global lobby group. At Davos, the global think tank attended by the wealthy elite, she boldly stated her case for an urgent narrowing of the gap between rich and poor. Today, as executive director of UNAIDS, she leads the UN's ambitious campaign to end the AIDS epidemic by 2030. She is a fighter for social justice. She is an activist for change. She is a voice of the oppressed, the dispossessed, the poor, and the downtrodden. For her bold and fearless leadership in politics and civil society, for her impassioned advocacy for reform and innovation in the face of global pandemics, for her tireless dedication to placing Africa's cause at the forefront of social change, and for proving through her inspiring example that we too can be whatever we want to be. We salute Dr. Winifred Byanyima, honoree of the IWFSA Hall of Fame for 2023.
From aeronautical engineer to freedom fighter to global healthcare activist, please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the stage a true Renaissance woman, our IWFSA 2023 Hall of Fame honoree, Ma Winifred Byanyima.
The president of IWFSA, Irene Shamley, and your vice president, Nolita Fakudi, the patron, Mom Zanele Mbeki, all of you, dear sisters, fellow honorees, my sister Mojanku Gumbi, and my bigger sister who's not here, Brigalia Bam, all of you, dear sisters, I really stand here before you today totally humbled and deeply honored to accept this, for me, very prestigious recognition from the esteemed International Women's Foundation of South Africa. So I am honored by you. To be honored by you really means so much to me. Let me pay tribute to you, South African women, for your resilient spirit and your determination that you showed, the immeasurable sacrifices you paid for the liberation of your country. I'm shaped by your struggles. I grew up in Africa, in Uganda, when you were here fighting for your country. We were supposed to be independent, but we were also under brutal dictatorship. We looked at you and were inspired by how you took on the powerful state of apartheid state. We followed you. I was shaped by your great leaders. Where can I start? By your Winnie Mandela, whose name I also happen to share. She shaped me. I followed every day of her life as she battled. I followed that man, the great man, whose life was cut down. He ran a column where he said, "Frank talk." You know who I mean. Steve Biko. I followed every word he wrote. I read everything he wrote. I followed as he was being arrested and his death and everything. I'm shaped by your struggles. So I'm honored that you've honored me. And I pay tribute to you for those struggles to bring down that evil system and your tireless efforts to build your new nation. I look at you with honor and with respect because it isn't easy, but you're giving it your best. Now here I am, honored, celebrated, but really I'm nothing. I am our collective efforts. And let me tell you one story and then sit down that for me defines these collective efforts. I've told you, Pan-Africanism. We could never fight for our own country without recognizing that we struggle for the whole of Africa. We could not struggle for urban elite, privileged people like ourselves. You saw that I was the daughter of teachers. We knew that that victory was for everyone.
the poor, the oppressed, the most, the last person. We also knew that it was about men and women being equal. Now, one day when I was in that struggle you saw against a dictator, we were told that we were at a stage where we were ready, the revolution was ready and we could take over. It's time to get off the stage, but I think I need to tell you this story. When we were informed that we could get weapons, we were looking for weapons. We were in a liberation struggle, liberating Uganda from a dictator. And the person who could give us some money to buy these weapons was in Swaziland. We needed to come to see this very rich figure somewhere in, so not part of the South African government, but he was based there. And so my job was to get our delegation, our guerrilla leaders, 4 of them and myself, into Manzini to discuss with this wealthy person who was going to loan us some money to buy what we needed. I made the arrangements I could make. Everything was ready, and I went up to our leader, our president today. I don't agree with him anymore, but at that time he was my leader. And he looked at me and he said, Kadawini, come forward. I came forward. He said, this is the plan you have for us. I said, yes. This is the plan. I said, yes, we'll travel, we'll stop in that town, Bloemfontein. We'll go from Bloemfontein. I've arranged for transport to take us to Manzini. And he said, I should arrest you. You should be detained. What kind of cadet are you? I'm sending you for re-education. I said, what? He said, I, Yoweri Museveni, you are telling me to put my foot on the soil of that Republic of South Africa. You want us to win our war over the people of South Africa. Why do you think we can step in that country? Look at your passport. What does it read? The passport read, not valid, valid for all countries except the Republic of South Africa and Israel at that time. 2 countries. Yes, it read Israel as well. I said, have you see that? I said, Mr. President, I have organized. We are going to get special travel documents. They are going to give us. We won't use our passport. He nearly killed me. I went back. I changed the plan. We did manage to get to Manzini without stepping in South Africa because it was a common struggle. We had to struggle together. Thank you so much.
For Advocate Mojanku Gumbi. Born into war, one is called to create peace. Born into the criminality of apartheid, one is called to understand justice. In a world where conflict abounds, one is called to negotiate resolutions. In a country staring into a shattered mirror, one is called to remind us that the law exists as collective aspirations. As we evolve, so it evolves. Whose dreams do we see alive inside you? When the raw truth eludes us, how does it find you? When the questions are rough, which answers fight you? Your footprint of justice traverses the world. That's how we define you.
Through the eyes of an innocent child, she looked at the world around her and dared to ask the question that grown-ups so often struggle to answer. The question was, why? Why She wanted to know, did so many people live in poverty? Why did children have to walk such a long distance barefoot to school? Why did black people have to struggle to survive? She knew even then, growing up in the impoverished rural community of Chabanchu in the Free State, that there were no easy answers. But she knew too that asking the uneasy questions can be the first small step on a journey to make the world a better place. At school and later at university, that small step became a giant leap as she saw her destiny written in the books of law. Armed with 2 degrees from the University of Limpopo and the University of the Witwatersrand, she took her stand as an advocate for change, a fighter for justice and human rights. As an advocate and attorney, she specialized in defending political activists in their struggles against the apartheid system. While in her own capacity, she found a home for her political beliefs in the Black consciousness movement. I have been an activist all my life for the liberation of South Africa, she once said, and I chose law as a career in order to give my activism a platform. But beyond the courtroom, she was destined to play an even greater role in the fight against racism, sexism, and inequality. Not just at home, but all around the world. Skilled in the delicate art of negotiation, she helped to pave the way for peacemaking initiatives in many African nations, as well as in Iran and the Middle East. She served as the head of Adjudication Secretariat of the Independent Electoral Commission in 1994. She was a special advisor to the former South African President Thabo Mbeki. And she spearheaded South Africa's economic diplomacy, facilitating a global presence for South African companies. And in 2023, affirming the high esteem in which she is held in international circles, she was appointed as the UN's Special Advisor for addressing racism in the workplace. Even today, for the little girl who grew up to become a lawyer, a leader, an activist, and a fighter, the questions remain. Why is there still so much racism in the world? Why do women still struggle to advance in the workplace? Why does inequality persist, even in the midst of wealth and technological progress? And that is why she continues to take a stand, continues to make her voice heard, continues to seek the answers that will help to make the world a better place. For her tireless work in the forefront of conflict resolution, economic diplomacy, and the advancement of human rights. For inspiring and uplifting young Black legal professionals through the Black Lawyers Association. For taking a stand for justice, equality, and the power of education as a vehicle for positive social change. We salute Advocate Mojanku Gumbi, honoree of the IWFSA Hall of Femme for 2023.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our fighter for justice and human rights, defender of the dispossessed and downtrodden, international peacemaker and negotiator, my favorite human being in the world, an extraordinary woman that the world needs right now. Woo! Our IWFSA 2023 Hall of Fame honoree, Advocate Mojanku Gumbi.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice President and Margaret. Thank you so much. First of all, I'm going to be very brief. You know, you can see how prepared I am, unlike my sister Winnie here. But congratulations, Winnie. And Tina, on behalf of Auntie, Sis Lope. You know, this woman, I don't have time to tell you about Winnie, but you really need to spend time with her tonight. She fights, she fights, she fights. But Sizanele, thank you for introducing me to this group of wonderful women. Today I draw inspiration from the book that our Vice President wrote. You know, she wrote about boardroom dancing. These women have defined the dance. These women have produced their own script, their own step, their own music, the women that are in this hall. And I really am so honored to be honored by you. You know, I was, you know, our Vice President talks about a stretch and risk. You know, when it's a woman, they say, oh, it's too risky to make that appointment if you are a woman or black. But if it's a man, it's like, oh, no, it's a bit of a stretch, but we'll support him. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, these women in this room have changed all of that. So I really, really thank you for that. It's not a day, it's a very difficult day to celebrate. The images, the messages, everything that is coming out of the Middle East makes it impossible for one to be merry. Today, Winnie and I just came out of a meeting just now on leading UN women to talk about what we can do. I hope we'll find time to talk about that. But thank you so much. I'm really honored. Thank you.
For Brigalia Bam, when this country finally makes peace with its existence, it will look at you, mother, daughter, sister, leader, elder, warrior, writer, seer, and see the best of what this earth and its people can produce. You are born of generous harvests, of women who keep communities alive. You walk upright and poised into battle where respect is your sword. If we are ever to understand the formation of this nation, the restless nature of democracy, it will be through your eyes, your heart, your mighty pen, and your skin. It will be through the history you have created and lived.
Come, step inside. Join us now on a journey into memory, a wander through the artifacts and mementos of a life well lived, a life lived in service to nation, community, society, and church. A life of selfless dedication to a greater cause, the eternal ideal of imvuselelo, a great reawakening of the spirit. For when the spirit awakens, the heart and soul are stirred, and one person, one action, one deed at a time, the world is changed for the better. Here are some of the reminders of the honors she has received, the bonds of goodwill and friendship she has forged, the esteem in which she is held all over the world. And here is the jersey her mother knitted for her when she visited her in Switzerland one cold day, far away from the warmth of her childhood home in the Eastern Cape. She grew up in the embrace of loving, kindness and learning, communion and community. A devoted churchgoer with a sharp and curious mind. Moving from rural Transkei to the bustle of Johannesburg, she followed her calling to teaching and social work. But her skills as an organizer, her passion as an activist, will beckon her to new paths, new roles of duty in a diversity of regional and global organizations. Anchored by her faith, uplifted by hope, she dreamed of the day when the land of her birth would be free. Little did she know the role she would play in bringing that dream to life. To many South Africans, she is best known for her stewardship of free and fair elections, ensuring that our transition to democracy would become a benchmark for the world. And still, driven by her passion for the life-changing power of education, she has served as a chancellor of 2 universities. and has earned honorary doctorates for her sterling work in the field. Today, in her 90th year, she continues to serve, to lead, to inspire. For her grace and humility in serving communities and uplifting youth and women in particular. For her wise counsel and leadership at the forefront of our young democracy. For playing a pivotal role in civil society as a beacon of faith and a model of the meaning of imvuselelo. We salute Dr. Brigalia Bam, honoree of the IWFSA Hall of Femme for 2023.
Due to ill health, Dr. Brigalia Bam is unable to join us this evening. However, her niece, Tina Iboka, is here to accept the award on her behalf.
My apologies for not joining you this evening to celebrate not only the other awardees, but the 22 years of IWFSA. I want to start by congratulating the board and leaders of IWFSA. I'm very impressed with the continued drive, imagination, and resilience of IWFSA members and leaders. I urge you to continue building this organization for the benefit of future women and leaders of our country. I thank you for this recognition, and this award means more to me coming from my sisters, my children, and I wish you all the best in your hard work.
Tina, do extend our love and prayers to Umam Brigalia that she's in our thoughts and indeed in our prayers. Thank you. To our three extraordinary Hall of Fame honorees, Siti Halala, Mbokoto Halala.
Halala.
Hearty congratulations, Mawini, Ausi Advocate Mojanku, as I call you, and indeed, Umamu Bam, Dr. Brigalia Bam. We are so deeply honored that you have accepted this humble token of our appreciation for all you have done and all that you continue to do to advance the cause of women's empowerment and to set a benchmark of outstanding achievement for us all.
And as challenging as it may be for us to follow in your footsteps, we can endeavor in everything that we do to be guided by your light. And thank you so much for shining the way for us all.
And thanks to all of you who have joined us here tonight to share in our quest to make a difference by paying it forward.
You can make your way upstairs for the gala dinner as we continue our night of celebration.
Woohoo!
See you upstairs.
Good evening again, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this celebratory Hall of Fame 2023 hosted by the IWFSA.
So for now, ladies and gentlemen, we take the greatest pleasure in officially starting our proceedings for this evening. by calling on Ms. Nonkululeko Nyembezi, Chair of the Standard Bank Group and Standard Bank South Africa, to say a few words on behalf of our partner and anchor sponsor, Standard Bank.
Thank you to the rather gorgeous MCs. I don't think that this room has been graced by so many beautiful people. This is just our boardroom and our executives who normally hang around here. So welcome to all of you. Honorable President Ramaphosa, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to this second annual edition of the IWFSA's, I'm going to say, Hall of Femme, but I'm just going to be alone in this issue, don't worry about me. I want to tell you how delighted everybody is at the Standard Bank Group at the opportunity to again partner with IWFSA in hosting this event. And you will hear in a minute why it resonates so much with Standard Bank and what Standard Bank stands for. Standard Bank has been a part of the African narrative for over 160 years. We operate in 20 countries around this vast continent of ours, and wherever we operate, we don't see ourselves as just a bank or just the next bank down the corner. We see ourselves as partners in the socio-economic growth and development of the African continent. Because of the failure to embrace gender diversity in the African continent in particular, millions of women, and indeed I would argue Africa's social and economic progress itself, has failed to reach its potential and will continue to do so until this matter is absolutely addressed in the right way. The problem is diversity is in fact Africa's true essence and superpower, from which her beauty and her strength are derived. However, diversity without gender equity is an incomplete equation. Gender equity is an essential catalyst for making the kind of progress that each one of us desires for our continent, in particular if we want this growth and development of the continent to be sustainable. And ultimately, success of the continent rests on this. It's easy to dismiss this as a social issue, but I believe this would be a mistake because the repercussions are actually quite far-reaching. Women are sitting at such the center of their societies, their families, and their communities that once you empower a woman, you have this positive feedback loop back into all of those spaces as they take everybody up with them. We heard downstairs about how Lift as You Rise is such a big theme for this particular group of individuals in IWFSA. And so limiting women's potential is always going to make this continent come up second best. So as we mark our second year of sponsorship of this fantastic Hall of Femme event, we remain aligned with the IWFSA's vision for a future where diversity in all its forms is not just tolerated or accommodated, but fought for with all the tools we have at our disposal and absolutely celebrated and encouraged. We envision and are helping to create a future where robust discussion, diverse perspectives, and challenging of traditional norms are encouraged and enabled within safe and trusted spaces. We are determined that women will not just be spectators on this journey, but that they will be the leaders, they will be the decision makers, and they will be the drivers of the transformation that we want to see and this continent simply must undergo. Thank you for your attention. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair Sis Nkunyembezi, for your insightful remarks. And I think it has to be borne testament that Standard Bank is indeed leading by example with the upward trajectory of women in leadership positions. And again, I have to say on behalf of the IWFSA board, thank you for your partnership with our organization, second year running. Moving right along, it gives me the greatest honor and pleasure to invite His Excellency, President Cyril Ramaphosa, to address us this evening.
Let's be seated, please. Thank you. Distinguished guests and honorees and ladies and gentlemen, I see there's a spluttering of some gentlemen around here. I'm glad to see that you're here supporting the women of our country. It is indeed my pleasure to address this wonderful celebration of trailblazing women who are making and have made an indelible mark in our society, both here in South Africa, on the continent, and globally as well. So we are gathered here tonight to celebrate, to honor, and to pay tribute to three remarkable women who have devoted the better part of their lives and their careers to uplifting and empowering others. These are the women who have, as they rose, they lifted others. They took others along with them. As the IWF South Africa, you call us to action. You remind us of our shortcomings, and you also hold us accountable for advancing women's empowerment, whether as lawmakers, as government leaders, as policymakers, as well as corporations and in the working world as well. And this is a necessary cause that you have taken up, and I'm glad that the IWFSA has taken this struggle up, because it is a struggle. You stand up for women, as you must, not just as a representative organization and a voice for change, but as active agents for upliftment and empowerment of women. It has been my privilege over the years to work closely with members of the IWFSA and other organizations in the quest to build a more equitable society where women will no longer encounter barriers to their personal growth and progress. So we salute your efforts, all of you, to galvanize your membership base, to foster alliances, and to promote mentorship and to champion exemplary ethical women's leadership at a broad level as well. So thank you to the IWF, to IWFSA, and may you continue to be an influential voice for gender equality, leading the charge towards a more equal and just world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, for your incredible remarks. Initially, when we were planning the event, it was said that the president really just wants to make remarks, not a keynote address. But indeed, that was a brilliant keynote address, and we really thank you for literally leaving, hosting the Netherlands royalty to coming and celebrate this royalty. Thank you so very much, Sir Realebo Khantat. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege, pleasure, and honor Aikhole umakazi wabantwana bam, our Vice President, Usis Nolita Fakute, to give the vote of thanks. Over to you, Madam VP.
Thank you, Makazi, Program Director. And wait, which one? You know, when you have aspirations, you know, Mr. President, I've got aspirations for my sisters, who I know very soon are going to be standing on that podium. All protocols observed, and again, good evening to everyone, and in particular to our Honorable President, His Excellency. And all I can say, I'm supposed to do a vote of thanks, so I'm going to really move fast. But all I can say, President, is that we know that actions speak louder than words. And the fact that you took time today, in particular with your very tight schedule, speaks volumes. Ladies and gentlemen, I really would like for us to take just one brief moment to thank the IWFSA board members and call in Madam President as well to join us, because these are the leaders who have in the last 3 years, maybe Madam President, you can wait there for a minute, please. Makazi, you come here, a board member, Basi, who else is not here? Because we want to take this moment of appreciation for the commitment and great work that our Madam President, Irene Chanley, has given to this organization. I can see I can see the honoraries, Advocate Gumbi, Dr. Winnie, and also Mam Zanela agreeing with me that Madam Irene has just been amazing. So, Madam Prez, as we refer to you and call you, I hope you know that not only are you our much loved and respected president, but you as well are one of our most visionary and inspiring leaders this organization has had in its 22-year history. We can never thank you enough for all that you did for all of us, especially during the COVID pandemic period. You took over the leadership of this amazing organization at the end of 2019 and spent a good 2 years thereafter guiding us and holding us together during lockdown in 2020 until 2021. We must never forget that. Most of our members only got to meet each other for the first time face-to-face last year, October, when we had our first inaugural Hall of Femme event. And the organization was pulled together because you were and still are the glue that bound us together through your weekly WhatsApp messages, giving us inspiring updates of the great work that many of our members were doing. But most of all, you built a strong foundation for a sisterhood of love, inspiration, and service amongst ourselves. So this is where we ask you to please come and join us here on stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, we know that every beautiful playing orchestra needs a masterful maestro who can conduct most skillfully and elegantly to get each player to shine as an individual and yet still be in harmony with the rest of the team. In you, Madam President Irene, we have had the privilege of that leadership. We are as well extremely excited that you will be taking up your rightful leadership place as a director within the Global International Women's Forum Board starting 2024. So there were over 16 nominees globally for the board, and only 6 people are in the global board of the International Women's Forum, and our Madam President here is one of them. We are so proud of you, and the fact that when International Women's Forum, not South Africa, the international one, globally next year will be turning 50, because it was started in 1974, that you will be one of those leaders who drive that agenda. And we are confident that you are going to influence and shape that process to make sure that paying it forward becomes a real global movement. And on behalf of the IWFSA board and all of our members who are here this evening and those who could not come, to say thank you to our beautiful Madam President, who normally ends her notes with boundless love and gratitude as she signs off. We've got Thabiso, who has a very special message for him before we have dinner. Thabiso, over to you, please.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for all these beautiful ladies on the stage.
So I can stand on
Thank you very much. Thank you.